It was a big beginning of a big growth. Deborah Ellis recruited me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Should we let Alex in?
Yeah, I let him in. I figure why
Okay.
not, right? Considering they pay the bills. All right.
He does. He does.
The recording is start. I think so. The recording has started. Tom, he can hear you. I let him in already.
Oh, I know that.
All right. So it's 3 o'clock. It's Thursday, and for all those who are on, you can tell who our presenter is. So, Mr. Conway, take it away.
Hey there. Thanks so much for the opportunity. I've been really enjoying these get togethers, learning so much about all the people I've seen a few times, maybe mostly know by name, but getting to hear about your lives and the things you do has all been a whole lot of fun. So I took a little change on this, and I believe we make our happiness. They're not things or events or stuff that makes us happy. It's the way we live our lives, the way we contribute to society. It's a state of mind. And the top things that come up for me is my wife, my family, work, and home. So I'm going to talk about those today. Here I am at Command Central in Garrison Landing, where I do all my work for network up here. I got a stand-up desk that I can use. Second picture is me at one of my favorite restaurants at up in Beacon, New York, a little bit north from here. I hope it opens up again soon. They're just doing takeout now. And of course, what's better than a good beer? This one's down in Delray, Florida. So the first thing I'm really going to talk about is work, because to me, work is, I'm just one of those people that if I'm not working, I get a little nutsy. It took me years before I could even relax and read a book on the beach. But through my life, I've done all sorts of things, and a whole long list of different skills and talents I've built up as I've gone through life. But really, I began to find my calling when I was at a construction company in New York. I started as a laborer, but moved up into the company administrative, and I automated that company back in the 80s with a DOS system, Novell, construction management software. And it really gave me the bug. In 87, when the stock market crashed, one of the first, we've had several since then. And I was getting out of that business. I decided, well, people, no matter how bad the economy is, people will always be uh, selling and buying things. When I started a marketing company, because I was instrumental in building that construction company through marketing. And coincidentally, my wife was the marketing director. No connection there. I later started, well, the marketing business didn't quite go as I hoped. It was fun, but really wasn't as satisfying. And I really realized I was sitting working late one night and I was looking at my computer and said, what do I really like to do? And I said, well, it's technology. A good friend of mine, Steve Simon, and I, who I'd known for years, we started up a company with kind of a goofy name, Two Nerds. We used to advertise in that New York paper Cranes because there was no internet back then at all. We had CompuServe and things like that. Some years later, I formed Business Tech Solutions Group, and I got hooked up in the beginning of my connection with Sage by someone said, hey, did you ever hear of BusinessWorks? Do you know how to use it? I said, sure, I'll go figure it out. It was a DOS version. Got a client going on that and ended up becoming one of the largest BusinessWorks resellers in the United States. BusinessWorks was owned by Manzanita back then, and they got bought up by State of the Art, and then State of the Art got bought up by Sage. So I was at the State of the Art event out in Palm Springs that year that Sage came in and took over State of the Art. Alex, I'm sure you remember that when they did that skit where the Sage people were in red coats and they were coming back to recolonize America. In 2004, I sold that company to SWK, but that wasn't really doing it for me. I decided in 2008 that Ed and Alex were right because I had known them since 1997. We had been, talking off and on about getting together, and I finally decided, well, this is the time to do it. Started off as consulting manager for Ed, and I was doing a bunch of things there, Sage 300, CRM 500. We were a little smaller, but we were growing rapidly. And there came a point
Peter,
in time.
if I may, Peter, if I may, because I think it's important. The first time we met Peter, he was a professional witness for a client that on an implementation we did that didn't go very well. He was representing the client, so we're clear. That was our introduction.
Well, yeah, to be fair, the installation was just fine. There was the only thing that was wrong with it was in the client's mind, who incidentally who later got arrested and put in jail for tax evasion.
Karma, baby, karma.
But
This call is being recorded.
but instead of becoming an enemy of Ed Alex, we became a friend. So I've dealt with all sorts of products. In fact, one time Seth Ellison told me, "Hey, you're the Network Swiss Army knife. We can put you on practically anything." So it's
Still
been
are.
fun.
Still are.
I am. Here I am at my
One
stand-up
citizen.
desk. I spend half of my day on my feet. Keep going. So on we go. Well, we talked about my darling wife, and we got married in 1985, celebrating our 35th anniversary, 35th anniversary coming October. Now, if anybody's offended by public display of affection, just look away from the computer right now, because there's a whole lot of love in this household. Here we are in Acapel, Mexico, one of our many trips down in South Beach, Miami, having a great time. And here we are in the Dominican Republic, current date, still looking pretty darn good. She works, and we all have a theme of work in this household. She has an amazing company. She's an amazing wife and best friend, an incredible mom, and social entrepreneur. She has a company called Artware for Good, and they do art-based programs for donor recognition, creative team building, legacy walls, charitable events, all kinds of activities that involve creating art and then putting it on ceramic tile into murals that are placed in all sorts of locations. Here's an example of one that was done by a bunch of people who created art on individual sheets, and it was combined together in a beautiful mural that went into their offices. Here's a group of people that she's supervising doing a great art project. And these projects have taken her to Rwanda, Nepal, all over the world, even Food Bank in New Jersey. So right now she has an incredible program you might want to check out, just launched to fit in with the COVID situation going on right now. But it's a way for people to create art at home and donate it. It'll be published on a massive global art gallery, and it's supporting this incredible group called No Kid Hungry. Works around the country supporting kids to get school lunches. We have a lot of fun together, traveling Paris, Italy. We vote together. We love to drink together, kayaking, spending time on the beach down in the Dominican Republic. And I guess Sam's not here, but she is. We like to dress up too, Halloween. And raising our children, which has been hard work. You know, as anyone knows, have kids our age. They're both, one's 27, the other's 33. It's a lot of work to raise kids, but it's very much worth it. So on to family. Nell, my daughter, first kid of the family, best day of my life, first best day of my life. Many best days since then. I always brought her up to think big, and she sure did. Here we are together in Argentina, father-daughter trip. Spent 10 days in Buenos Aires, had a fabulous time. Here she is on her birthright, which is a special event since her mother's Jewish. She got to go to Israel and experience that country, had an amazing, amazing trip there. Got a boyfriend now, got to deal with it, Dad. And she's working with a company, Ramola Productions, associate director. She does incredible corporate events. She's been traveling around the country, United States, Taipei, Mexico, and so forth. A lot of that's put on hold. She's working on doing virtual events. Boy, my family, all I could ever dream for. He was always a very attentive, curious kid. Here we are in England. Played hockey from 5 till today. He's a hard worker at sports, has excelled in all sorts of sports. Loves to build and into cars, just like his dad. Here's his favorite summer camp for many years. Prom night. Dad, can I use your car? I guess so. It worked out all right. And here he is on his birthright trip to Israel. They both just adored that adventure. And now he's a very successful realtor with Sotheby International Realty, and they're both doing fine. One thing I love about my kids is that, oh, wait, before we go on, family, my two brothers, we don't see each other that often, but we have a heck of a good time. My two brother-in-laws and my father-in-law, he's passed away now, but still in our hearts. Diana's two gorgeous sisters. Here's our kind of extended family in Carmel Ranch for a great family reunion, which we enjoyed. Work. I do a lot of volunteer work as well. I'm the treasurer and webmaster for the local Audubon Society. I just started on the board of the Garrison Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Anybody who can deal with numbers can get a job real quick. And I also help out with a local art museum based in Garrison. Love writing. I write for the Network blog and the Sage 300 newsletter. I've done a number of blogs myself. I wrote a food and wine blog for 15 years and kind of reached its peak, but it's still out there if you ever want to take a look at it. I'm big into cocktails. Seems to be a very popular topic around here, and wrote this blog on 100 Negronis, classic Italian cocktail, one of the most world-renowned cocktails, right up there with Manhattans and old fashions and gin and tonics and stuff like that, martinis. Another fun adventure. I love making cocktails, but I also create them. I'm always inventing new cocktail recipes, so that's great.
Awesome.
When I moved up here to Garrison, New York in Hudson Valley, wrote a blog about that, kept going for a few years, and kind of reached its peak. Today I work on a website for local Audubon Society and have a lot of fun with that. Birding's a big thing for me. Here I'm on a little bird walk with some friends at Putnam Highlands Audubon, some feeders in my backyard. My neighbor has some ducks and chickens, beautiful cardinal on our little bench we have in our backyard. And see a lot of great birds. I have a bunch of feeders out, cardinals and some sparrows, another cardinal. The goldfinches have been absolutely crazy this year. There's so many, 2 finches, woodpecker and a sparrow. A lot of beautiful blue jays around. I love birding in Florida too. This is down in a park, bird sanctuary down by Delray. One of my favorites, the red-winged blackbird. I love that. And this little cutie just showed up in my yard yesterday. Gorgeous little woodpecker. So we love to cook, my wife and I, and therefore our spice drawer is filled with almost any spice known to man or woman.
Oh boy.
Our refrigerator has more sauces and ingredients than food.
I know your pain there.
The side door has more booze than milk. Isn't that the way it should be? Sake, all types of wine, things like that. Lots of different beers. Love that. And we cook all sorts of cuisine. This was a French meal, seared salmon with asparagus and quinoa. Just probably in the last couple weeks. Mexican night, turkey chili I made with beautiful salad. Oh, Asian, seared short ribs, some sesame noodles, some slaw, and a great wine, New York State wine, one of my favorites. Sunday, Italian night. And back to some Asian miso eggplant. So we love to treat ourselves well, making out okay with our self-quarantine by making some really good food. I think no web presentation is complete without the old pictures. There I am at about 1. What the heck am I doing here? Around 8, and then around 20. That's when I was known as Stone Conway, because I was terrible. I always try to avoid gym, and I always forget to bring my gym gear, and I had to walk the track. And one day, one of my friends says, "Conway, you look like a Rolling Stone." And from then on, I was known as Stone Conway. Here I am in New York in 1998. No, 75 actually, on 98th Street. And here's an old shot of Diane and I. So we live in the Hudson Valley. Just to give you oriented, there's New York City. You know where that is? It's straight up the Hudson River, covers a big swath of New York, surrounding the river. We're in a little bit closer area called Putnam. And it's got so many different things here, so many places to visit. This is our little piece of the world, a little hamlet called Garrison, population 4,000. Our little area down below there where the arrow is called Garrison Landing, which actually used to be a ferry boat depot back in the 1800s. And that's where we live. If you come up to visit, you might take the train from New York, which goes right near our house, or take this bridge over the Hudson. It's our happy place. Whenever we get off the train or drive over that bridge, there's just a nice sense of relaxation that is beautiful. Little gazebo, and next, if you ever come up to visit, we'll show you around. So I was going to do a live presentation today and take a walk through the landing, but I saw the weather forecast and it was looking pretty crappy, so I made this recording for you. And here we go. Here's our house. Next door is a bookstore. There's an art center a little further down the road, a local community theater and a restaurant and the train station. Here's our flowers for spring starting to come out. I love the little daisies. We called our house Casa Gialla, yellow house. Diana's flowers. So in we go. This house was built in 1840, totally renovated about 10 years ago. There's our kitchen. Looks like some dinner's already starting to be made. Our dining area, sofa, TV area, command central, and you see right out the river, right out of the window, there's our deck, our extra room during the summer. My son's boat collection, which he developed or collected over about 15 years. Down we go. My wife loves seltzer. We're boarding at an old house, hear the stairs creaking. More food stuff, more cooking stuff, more wine. Always collecting wine and always want to have just the right wine. Here's one of Diana's workshops. She also has a factory in New Jersey where a lot of stuff gets produced. But the greatest thing is that they'll open the door and step out, be footsteps from Hudson River. It's starting to get green. The buds are starting to come out. The birds have been incredible. There's been so many birds out lately. They're coming to my feeders. So the river is absolutely gorgeous here. You think about all the history. That wheel over there used to be part of one of the ferry boats that went across. Interesting sculpture that someone donated. It's actually a privately owned park. The public to use, part of a trust that was created to buy all the land out and preserve it being developed. Now that's West Point, huge, empty now, COVID, but you hear that flip, marching, shouting, and playing football, and sometimes we're out jumping out of helicopters or parachutes. The officers' quarters down there. It's Debo, where people get married, and so the amazing thing about this river is it's always changing. The sunsets can be absolutely incredible, always different depending on the clouds and what's going on. Sometimes it gets so still, it looks like a mirror, and the mist comes over. It gets very, very spooky. The tide comes up and down by 3 feet, and half the time there's a little beach there. Kids go out and play. Here, a view over in West Point where it looks like it's floating in the clouds. It's So amazing. And people say, how'd you make this picture? Do you retouch it? No, this is just snapping it out of my camera. Another nighttime or evening sunset shot. Just get this mirror quality. It's beautiful. At night, it takes on a whole other dimension. There's so much activity over there. And at night into winter. Just up looking out from Beacon, New York over Newburgh. Just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous sunset. So here's a little collage of the bookstore next door to us. There's so many things around here, so many places to look at and do. These Stonecrop gardens, which are amazing. Garrison Institute used to be a Franciscan monastery, but it's taken over and it's a non-sectarian event center, and they have all sorts of cool events there. The Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival that goes on every summer, just a few miles up from us. People having picnics on our little park. A view from Breakneck Ridge, a very popular hiking area near us. So many hiking trails in our little town. We're part of Phillipstown, and there's over 30 hiking trails that take you up into the mountains and have beautiful views. Here's one of our favorite spots in a little town up the road from us called Cold Spring. This place up here on the left is Barber and Brew. Up front is a barber shop, old-fashioned barber shop. In the back is a great beer and wine bar. Our favorite coffee shop, the yoga studio where I do Pilates. All very beautiful. Up here is a gazebo that was built many years ago and restored on one of the walks that we do. Here's a snowy day out in Arden Point where we walk. The Garrison Art Center. They always do different exhibits. Richard Serra exhibit at the Dia Museum up in Beacon. And often as you're walking through these paths, you find these old ruins of old factories and houses that had been long since abandoned. Near us is a famous Buddhist monastery that claims to have the largest Buddha statue in the United States. Kind of fun. So there we are. I posted a list of all my blogs and Diana's stuff. And I hope you enjoyed this. And just to end off, got one more little bird video.
Hey, Peter, how long have you been living there?
We're on our 6th year. We moved here in January 2015.
Awesome.
It was the coldest winter in 100 years. Got a lot of snow. Our pipes froze. We had to live in a motel for a couple of weeks until they got them sorted out. But we've
Very cool. Thanks, Peter.
thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Peter.
Thank,
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Peter. Take care,
Thanks,
Peter.
Peter.
Bye-bye.
Awesome job, Peter. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Peter.
much.
Peter.
Bye.
See y'all tomorrow.
Betcha.
Okay.